Cricket Predictor powered by 1xBet and Womeki. Infrastructure's Delhi NCR. The Lord's Test came to a thrilling end, but unfortunately not in India's favour. England defeated India by 22 runs, and with that, England has took over a lead of 2-1 in this 5-match Test series. England put up a score of 387 runs in the first innings, and India responded with the same 387 runs, but unfortunately all out. England then put up a score of 192 runs in front of India. But again, unfortunately, India fell short. They got bowled out for 170 runs. This now stands as India's second narrowest overseas defeat in the Test history. The narrowest being 16-run loss to Australia in Brisbane back in 1997. Despite KL Rahul's century, gritty 50s from Pant and Jadeja, and Washington Sundar's sharp spell, India couldn't close the deal. And that brings us to a bigger concern: the temperament and collapse of the middle order and lower orders under pressure. This isn't the first time this has happened. In 1997, India failed to chase 120 runs versus West Indies and were bowled out for just 81 runs. In 2015 again, they couldn't chase 176 runs versus Sri Lanka. And again in 2018 at Edgbaston, India fell short while chasing 194 runs. The fourth innings, it seems, continues to be the biggest nightmare of Team India. After the T20 World Cup win, Rahul Dravid stepped down and Gautam Gambhir took over as a head coach for India. With the high hopes of a fresh mindset, bold tactics and aggressive cricket. But the numbers tell a worrying tale. Last 11 tests, just 2 wins. Yes, that's right. Just 2 victories in India's last 11 red ball games. The grind is real and it's exposing some serious cracks. John, I would like to begin by asking this question to you. Unlike previous tests, Shubman Gill couldn't contribute with the bat in this test. Had he done that, India would have been ahead in this series now, rather than being behind at this moment. Do you think Gill's involvement in lesser affairs cost India a crucial lead in the series?
Yes, Shubman Gill didn't contribute as much as he would have loved in this recently concluded test, but I don't think that makes him any less a batter. I think he's still in form. I think it's just one of those games where one doesn't score. So I think there's nothing much to look into that. And he has been doing very well for India with both bat and being captain. And I think he's still got much to offer, both on the batting side and on the captaincy side. And I think it was just one of those games that he didn't contribute as well as he would love to, but then other people contributed. We saw that KL Rahul contributed. We saw that Rishi Pant contributed. We saw that Jadeja contributed. So it's that's how sport is. You don't always do as well as you'd like, but the most important thing is not to look too much into that and look to bounce back in the next match that you play. And I hope and I'm sure that Shubman Gill could and will make an impact in the next coming test match to try and put India back into the hunt for the test series.
In hindsight, Shubman Gill got into the thick of things too often during the 5 days of the Lord's Test. From the naive request of ball change on day 2, followed by an animated exchange with the officials, to a cinematic exchange with Crawley at the end of the day 3. Did all this have any effect on his focus on the game? And more importantly, on his performance?
I think it's all in gamesmanship, and we could look at it and say Shubman Gill was not meant to change that ball, but then they felt that ball wasn't doing much, and we've seen that has been the issue with quite a number of the Dukes balls that get soft quickly, that lose shape quickly, and the fact that it didn't fit into those rings meant that the ball was definitely needing to be changed. So I think they made the right call, but unfortunate that the ball that they got, or that they were given rather, didn't do as much as they wanted it to do. And in the heated exchange, those are things that happened in the moments of games where you try and unsettle your opposition, where you want to take the fight to them, and things like that happen. And I don't think he would have done it any different had it happened again, because that showed that is a leader taking it for the team, putting himself in the forefront to be able to try as much as possible to get his team into a good position to get a result from the game. So I think Shubman Gill was right in both the ball change and in the little bit of heated exchange with Zach Crowley, because one, there was no abuse that was given to anyone in the English team. It was just pure gamesmanship, whether you're trying to unsettle them, or you're trying to make them not feel comfortable so that they play indifferently. And that's just the way it is. Hindsight is always easy. It's always easy for us to say it now because India lost, but it did won. It was going to be said, oh, brilliance of Shubman Gill to change the ball, brilliance of Shubman Gill to get into the face of the batters. But we just take it as it is and always back the captain to make the right decisions.
Ben Stokes reportedly said bang bang just minutes before the Pant's dismissal and then Rahul dismissal, turning it into prophecy. What does this insight into Stokes' mindset reveal about his belief and ability to inspire his team to deliver under pressure?
That bang bang phrase is very common in cricket, and it's used at all levels, because you say bang bang, one, to try and gee up your team, and two, bang bang, to just remind the batters that you could lose two quick wickets at any time, because they know there's a saying that we like to use, saying add 2 wickets to any score, then that will tell you where you are in the match. And that's exactly what Ben Stokes did, what Ben Stokes said, and they did go bang bang, and all of a sudden India was in trouble. So I think that was a positive affirmation from the captain to try and gear his team, to try and get them buzzing, to try and get them to understand that they're not too far off from being in the driving seat in this match. And yes, the prophecy ended up coming to fruition with those 2 quick wickets, and India were on the back foot, and then England managed to take the win. So it was good to see and hear Ben Stokes say that it was good to see his team reacting to that chant, putting the pressure, and actually managing to go bang bang as they had said. So it was very good on his part, but also most importantly, very good on his team to be able to back that chant and deliver as well.
Well, my fourth question to you would be, England's victory by 22 runs marked a grueling test of patience. The match was defined by individual heroics, tactical battles, and a thrilling final day match. What will be the impact of this Lord's test in the context of the whole series?
The impact of this test match is that there are 2 teams that are going into the 4th test. One is leading and with momentum. The other one is trailing but needing to answer some questions about Bumrah. Are they going to play Bumrah in the 4th test, or are they going to rest him and play in the 5th test? Bearing in mind that they played him in the 1st test, they didn't win. Weirdly enough, he didn't play in the 2nd test. They won. They played him in the 3rd test. They didn't win. But in the 2 test matches that he has played, he has taken 5 wicket hauls. So there's a bit of inconsistencies there with that, because now they really need their premier fast bowler who has been performing, but every time when he plays they don't win. Now England are saying we're going to into the 4th test leading 2-1, looking at closing the series, because if they do win this next test match, they win the series. If they draw, they've still got another opportunity to win, but are guaranteed that they are not going to lose the series. So there are a bit of questions asked, a bit of tactics that have to be played by both teams. But yes, it's going to be an interesting one in the 4th test, how they go about what wicket they're going to prepare, how the teams are going to line up, what seamers are going to play for England, what they're going to do with Bashir because he's injured. Are they going to get in a spin option? Are they going to play Bethel, left arm spin, and Topola bat? Where is he going to bat? What are they going to do with Crawley? So all those questions are going to be needed to be answered before and during the fourth test. So it will be interesting how both teams are going to go about it. And but at the moment, I would like to think that England is in the driving seat because all three results are possible for them in this series. They can draw the series. They can actually win the series, and they can actually lose the series. But for India, it's a bit more realistically speaking that they need to win both tests to actually win the series. So they're in a bit of a pickle there, and it will be interesting how they're going to overcome all those challenges to ensure that they get the best results that they need to set this up for the series win.
Well, now I would like to invite Mr. Paul Dennett, who is a senior cricket journalist from Australia. I would like to begin by asking, with over 10,700 first-class runs at 35.3 average and 371 wickets at 31.5, how impactful could Liam Dawson's all-round credentials be as he replaces Shoaib Bashir for the final two tests against India?
Yeah, well, I think Liam Dawson's a far better choice than Shoaib Bashir, and I've been surprised all along that they've been picking Bashir. Now, caveat to that, as I said yesterday, he's young and he's obviously got something about him. I like the way that he releases the ball. I like his height, and I rate Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum's ability to judge talent. So there's potentially a lot of upside to Shoaib Bashir, but at this stage, his record is pretty modest. Compare that to Dawson, albeit a veteran. But his overall, as you say, first-class bowling average in the very low 30s is pretty good in English conditions. And I like the fact that he's a left-arm orthodox as well. That it's like having why I'm always eager for India to pick Ravi Jadeja no matter the conditions, because if late in the game the ball starts to have a little bit of variable turn, then he's attacking both edges and he becomes very dynamic. And just like Jadeja, Dawson has a very fine batting record as well. And looking through his recent career, it seems it's probably in the last few years that with bat and ball, he's in the best form of his career. So I think his inclusion actually strengthens the England side.
India claimed 12 bold dismissals in the Lord's Test versus England in 2025, their most ever in a single test. What does this stat reveal about the precision and impact of India's bowling attack in seam-friendly conditions?
Well, I loved it. I mean, partially it was just a reflection of conditions, and partially there were some interesting shots a couple of times from the England batters. But all in all, one of my real bugbears in Test cricket is a reluctance to attack the stumps. I often watch and am just looking for ball after ball. What percentage are they actually kind of aiming at the top of off? Of course, you've got to have the variety, you've got to have bounces, you can't always bowl there. And if you get too full, then you do get driven by top players. But I think that the risk that most sides are unwilling to take is being driven a little bit too often. You hear Michael Holding talking about it and saying that what's 3 boundaries? 3 boundaries through the covers, the next one they might nick to the slips. So you've got to take that risk-reward proposition. And the fact that I was reading that in the second innings, India were attacking the stumps 22% of the time, which is one of the higher proportions that I've ever seen. It's the way to win games of cricket. And I think that that's what the Indian bowling attack should continue to focus on for the rest of the series.
India has lost many matches while chasing a target of 200 runs or less, the most by any team in the history. Does this stat reflect the challenges of batting last, even against modest targets in Test cricket?
Well, I think the biggest thing that reflects is that England have just played far more Test cricket than any other country. It's something that annoys me, because obviously Australia and England played the first Test match together, and so you would think, given they've played Test cricket for the same length of time, that the two nations would have played broadly a similar amount of Test matches. But it's just not the case. And in the early years of the 20th century, England were having Test match after Test match. Every summer they would have Test matches from the 1920s onwards, never an off season. Whereas Australia, all the way through until 1970, would often have summers where we had no international teams touring here. So I think England played a lot of test matches in the old days when the scores were lower. And so I think the fact that they have had more unsuccessful 200-run chases in the fourth innings just reflects that, yeah, they are the most devoted to the test match format.
Well, my last question to you would be, India has lost 73 tests while chasing in the fourth innings, managing to score only 55.20% of the required runs, which comes out to narrowly 14,516 out of 26,298. What does this say about India's historical struggles in fourth inning chases? And how crucial is temperament under pressure in such scenarios?
I actually think the modern players are better at it than their predecessors. That in the old days, there was this feeling of, oh, we're under such pressure, low final innings chase, we've got to really value our wickets and eke out every single run. And more often than not, the sides would just get becalmed, a couple of wickets would fall, and before you knew it, they were in a lot of trouble. And that actually did kind of happen in this test at Lords, and it was to India's great credit, led by Jadeja, but with the backing of the bowlers, that they ended up making a great fist of it and almost actually winning it in the end. So I think that having that ability to realise, yes, playing your shots is somewhat risky in the short term, but longer term, if you don't play your shots, then that's ultimately much riskier. And I think that T20 cricket especially, and one-day cricket before that, has given the modern-day player a real comfort in chasing and a real comfort in playing aggressively in chasing. But of course, in the fourth innings, especially if it's on the final day with variable bounce, and sides can do whatever they want with the field, putting all 9 fielders back on the fence if they want, it does make it challenging. And, you know, it was one of the most gripping spectacles, even though hardly any runs were scored at periods, that day 5 at Lords. Even non-cricket fans, I think, realise what a wonderful spectacle Test cricket can be at its very best.
I would now like to invite Mr. Sarandeep Singh. You might have already heard about him. He's the ex-selector of Team India and obviously a former Indian cricketer. Mr. Sarandeep, I would like to begin by asking, with England defeating 193 runs versus India in 2025, only the fourth time a target of 200 or less has been successfully defended at Lords. How significant is this win in this context of Lords history? And what does this highlight about the venue as well?
Hello everyone, yeah, it's a tough call. We know the history of Lords. It's not easy in the fourth inning to chasing a target of 200 or less than 200 runs. Because we all know there is a wicket, we have a slightly slope on the wicket. There is a fast bowler, get the extra bounce from there. From day one we've seen it, that Indian fast bowlers get extra bounce like Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Siraj. Then in the second innings we see Jofra Archer. He came into the attack, Pan Stokes bowled beautifully. So it's not easy that chasing in Lords, it's not that easy. That's a history over there. So it's not easy for the batters also to play the proper cricketing shots, we can say that. It's difficult for them also. But that's a good contest in Lords because first inning England scored 387, India going second inning 387, but second inning 193 target. India just about to chase the target, but they don't get it from last 24 runs. They are just behind it. So that's happened in that venue because bowlers are always in the action all the time. So India has to be now perfect for the fourth test match.
With just 2 wins in their last 11 tests, is this a reality check for Team India under coach Gautam Gambhir? And does it reflect deeper concerns in this red ball consistency?
Yeah, we can say that it's a bit of worried because we've won only 2 test matches from 11 test matches. So it's not the easy thing for the coach also because the team is doing really well. But somehow we are just losing the games. We just have to be more patient because it's a new team. It's coming up, new boys into the team now. So Gautam needs some time also to work with them. He's a fabulous guy. He's a fabulous coach. So he's a fighter and team is fighting in this series. We are not just losing the test matches like one-sidedly. We are fighting it. We lost first test match, we are fighting. Second test match we won, we fight it rare. In this test match in Lords, we gave a hell of a time to England team. So hopefully in the next test match we come back strongly and we're going to win this test match.
Well, thank you so much Sarandeep for joining us and thank you to all the guests. Thank you so much for joining us at Cricket Predictor. Keep watching Cricket Predictor.